CGTN special program, The Hype. I am Li Zhao. You're now joining us um, on our app and also our various social media platforms, including our Facebook, Twitter, now known as X, and also Chinese Weibo, WeChat, Yang Shiping, as well as our official website and also app. So if you have any questions, make sure you leave your comments with hashtag The Hype, and we'll have our guests answer some of your questions. And today our topic is really about the BRICS Summit, the 2024 BRICS Summit, which is set to take place in Kazan, Russia, starting from Tuesday and will last for 3 days. Now, what is BRICS? Now, BRICS is an intergovernmental organization that really began with 5 emerging economies, including B for Brazil, R for Russia, I for India, C for China, and also S for South Africa. And because of its ever-growing influence around the world, the mechanism now sees an expansion of membership with Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the UAE, Iran, also Ethiopia joining in. This is actually the first meeting after the expansion. So a lot of things to be looking forward to. And today we're actually joined by an amazing lineup of guests. They have something very special to share. And today we're focusing on some of the economic and also culture perspective of the BRICS Summit. All right, let's first meet the guests. I'm just gonna have you guys say what is your name and also sort of introduce yourself, where you're at right now and what you do. Let's start from Hannah.
Good afternoon, good morning, and wherever you are. I'm Hannah Wanjia-Ryder. I'm the CEO of Development Reimagined, which is an international development consultancy with our main office in Beijing. I'm currently joining you from Washington, D.C., where we are organizing several events and interacting with other people who work on development issues. So wonderful to be part of this. Thank you.
Hi, Hannah. Good morning. Although it's night here, but good morning to you. And right now, I think Renato, are you ready?
Yeah, sure. Nice to meet you, y'all. Good to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm talking straight from Wuhan. I'm director of KUSA, also director of Brazilian Citizens Council in Beijing, being in China already 14 years, working with the education market. I'm a lawyer from background, and I did my PhD in public administration, so which give me a lot of background for counseling. So I hope I can help today and share my experience.
Wow, you said you've been here for 14 years in China.
Yes, at the time, yeah.
Wow, 14 years, that's a long time. All right,
Yeah.
let's now turn to Valletta, who's also in China right now.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm Violeta. I am from Russia. I am a TV director and currently I'm getting my Master of Fine Arts degree in Film and TV Production in Communication University of China in Beijing.
Very cool. So you said you've worked in Russia before, and right now you studied film in film directing here in China.
Yes, right.
Very cool. And our final guest is Nayan, my former colleague, and right now he is joining us from the US.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm joining from Boston. I'm a journalist. I have worked for more than a decade. I was in India at CNN. Then I moved to China. I was a consultant at CGTN. Had a great time. I lived in China for 5 years. And thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much for being here. All right, guys. So we have 2 guests joining us from the US and the rest of us in China right now. And today we're talking about, of course, BRICS. I think a lot of us, or all of us, have some sort of connection with BRICS, right? Either we're from BRICS countries or we have, business doing with BRICS countries. Let me start today's discussion by asking you guys some quick questions to sort of know about your investment strategies, or more directly, money habits. Just tell us the answer that features your money habits the best. Okay. First question is, if you have spare money, are you going to save it or just spend it?
Save it.
Save it? Where?
Definitely.
Are you putting it
save
in the bank or real estate, or?
I would go for a small investment, something more stable, like a good outcome, like probably like
I would do a
investment.
mix of bank and real estate.
Okay, real estate, investment. What about you, Nayan?
Yeah, I'm more of a traditional. Obviously, it depends on how much money you have, but I would say bank for
Bank.
starters, and real estate if you have some lump sum that you want to park. That I think is, and gold. I mean, in Asia, in countries like India, gold is considered as a very safe investment. So that's another option.
What about you, Valada? Are you gonna put it in a bank or stock market or real estate?
I would say first I would save and then use money, because saving money only on your bank account is not really safe. And as Naya said, it's a more safe way to invest in real estate, to keep your money and use it in the future.
See, so we got the right guest. Everybody chose to save it. If it's me, I'd probably spend it right away. All right. Next question is, do you prefer high risk, high reward investment or more stable, low risk returns? I think someone already said that they prefer like low risk investment, right? Is it Renato said that?
Yeah, my opinion is like actually a high level investment, like something that I invest, like they'll put a lot of myself, but it will be stable. So sometimes higher risk, sometimes lower risk, but like something more stable, something that I can predict and expect. As Violeta was saying, like you want to accumulate and have a next step to going. Sometimes like open a new business or sometimes getting real estate. It depends on the amount, of course.
So you want investment, but more controllable.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Nayan?
Yeah, I would agree with Renato, because obviously it depends on the money again. But if it's less money, I would try and maybe do high risk for a while, and see if the stakes are not that high. That's more safe. But if the stakes are very high, a lot of money, of course, has to be more stable, and something that I can bank on and can sleep peacefully at night.
What about you, Valara?
I agree with the other guests, because for me, as I'm majoring in communications, I'm not really into financial market, and for me, it's better to invest something low risk, because I can predict the strategy of of my money, and can see how they can work for me in the future.
What about you, Hannah? As in someone who already had her own business.
Yeah, perhaps I'm the detractor here, because I feel risks are often perceived. And one of the issues, especially when you come to investment in African countries, which is what I work on a lot, is really kind of getting behind what those perceptions are and the real story. So I may go with something which others might think is high risk, but I definitely don't think that there is.
What kind of investment?
Well, it might be in certain types of projects, energy projects, or manufacturing, etc. Those sorts of things, which again, many of African banks do work on, and do invest in. Those are the sorts of things that I'd be interested in investing in.
So I think
advise
among
others
our
to
four guests, Hannah is the most aggressive one. Can I say that? But she did make decision based on her knowledge and like very thoughtful thinking. But it's so I think she's the most aggressive among the four. Okay, next question. When you are doing investment, do you focus more on short-term fluctuations or long-term value? Do you focus more on short term or long term? Okay, let's start from Violetta.
I think I'm the youngest here, so for me, long-term planning is not a real thing yet. So I would focus more on short-term in recom.
Yep, short term. Okay, what about you, Nayan?
I would say I would prefer long term.
Long term?
Yeah,
How
I
long
think
though?
long term is something. Sorry?
How long though? Is it like 1 year long
Yeah.
for you?
I think no, I would say 3 to 5 years is long term for me. 5 to 10 years is also long term. Short term would be around 1 to 2 years to 3 years. Yeah.
Okay. Hannah?
Yeah, I'm a 10, 15 year type investment person.
Wow.
That's what I'm looking at, that kind
Wow.
of horizon.
Wow. Okay. 10 to 15 years. That's for
Also,
sure long term.
also because again, many of these things they take, especially if you're investing in something which is about, especially around development, you need to be thinking about the long term, and you need to be able to withstand some of the fluctuations.
Mm-hmm. So you're okay
Yeah.
with the fluctuations?
I am
You're
okay with
enjoying it.
fluctuations, but the way to deal with fluctuations is to diversify your investment. So you don't put all your money in one place, you put it in several places.
Okay. Smart move. All right. Our final guest, Renato, what about you?
Yeah, like Hannah has like good like thoughts. Like I also go this way. I usually divide my capital based on like the daily life conditions. So I always like this money I also invest. So I keep like something that can often progress and offer me better condition daily to daily life. But I never put all the eggs in the same basket. So like I have the long term like investments, retirement plan, and like real estate for my own living. And then I have real estate for like and other investments, which is for risk. So sometimes I go for investment itself 2 to 3 years. So I can like take decisions quick to sell or to keep reinvesting. And like midterms, I'll go for between 5 to 7 years, which is already like quite long for some people. But like for me, it's already a step to like, I'm tired, time to move this thing and like, not enough.
How do you guys usually react when the market is not good? Will you sell it immediately, or will you stay in the market for a little bit longer and see what happens? Let's just start from you, Renato.
Yeah, like my feeling is always like hold, like always think over, get the right info. Do react. Do not react to like a crowd. Like if you go with the crowd, you're lost. My point of view. Yeah.
So you don't follow suit. Whatever they're doing doesn't matter to me. I'll just wait for
Yeah,
my own.
like because there is tendency of speculations that push you to take actions which is not useful for you. So if you have like a plan, like a time plan, sometimes you gotta pay for the time you plan yourself, right? So you can reduce your gain for a time, but like you recover in the short or long term. You never know. So that's why the plan. Follow the plan. I always follow the plan. Depends.
What about you, Hannah?
Yeah, I also try not to react too much. With as somebody that has banked in a number of different countries, again, you have to deal with a lot of things that you don't necessarily expect or plan for. But again, that's why I've experienced a bank run, for example, but trying to stay sort of solid and careful despite that. So again, diversification is key. You don't put all your eggs in one basket, like Renato was saying, and don't be too reactive.
Nayan, do you agree?
Yeah, I completely agree. I had some money parked in some years ago, and there was a slump in the markets, and there was an urge to get out, but I got some good financial advice, and I decided to stay, and ended up earning from that actually.
Wow.
So yeah, I think the lesson is that stay. Do not act on that urge, and stay there for the long term, because it will give you returns in the long term, not in the short term. May not be. Yeah,
So patience is a key.
absolutely.
Now let's go to Valada. What about you? As a student.
As a student, I do not invest because I was working on a TV channel, business TV channel, focusing on stocks analysis, and it only taught me if you don't really know how to use stocks, don't do it. But also, I wanted to say that even if the market is falling, you should keep playing your own game and measure the risks on your own.
Okay. I think Nayan sort of talked about this question already, but whose advisor do you trust the most when you're making investment decisions? Do you trust the experts your family members, or just believe in yourself, your own intuition, I guess? Let's start from Hannah, who is the most, I guess, rational one.
Aggressive and rational. I
Yeah.
think I always, again, take a mix of views. I think I'm more interested in experts who are from, let's say, developing country markets or African markets themselves, who actually know the market better and can really understand the dynamics. Whereas I think, the traditional experts, whether it's from US, Europe, etc., I think sometimes, again, the risk perceptions are overplayed and will lead you to pull out money before you really should. So yeah, it's a mix. My own intuition and then of course talking with family and friends is no bad thing.
What about you, Nayan?
Yeah, I will agree with Hannah because yes, you have family to support you, but there are times when family also eggs you on to not take too much risk and let's get out, let's salvage whatever we have. But I think it's important. I do my own research, of course, before you invest. So, studying the trends, studying the long-term trends, what's happening in the market, is it profitable or not? And if losses happen in the short term, just try stay put and listen to your family. I'm not advocating you shouldn't, but go with your own gut and also, of course, with the experts' advice as well.
All right, Renato, you ready?
Well, like Rana like has put it like good words, and I think Nayan like has like frame it well. I trust myself a lot. So what I combine is a different experience. Like I think there's like a lot of people that doesn't know much, but they get to hear crucial information, or they got the feeling of the market. Specialists are crucial, like you gotta follow them. But in the end of the day, it's about like what your gut say, like what you're doing, what's your plan, what you're aiming. So like you combine this information, you judge accordingly. So like
So you got to
I
do
trust
your own
my
research and like sort of listen to others, but make your decisions yourself.
Yeah, how much percent are gonna listen to this one? How much is this one? Like, and you add up, and like in the end, you give like a good direction.
Also, one thing is important is who you should get your advice from, right? That person got to be very knowledgeable in the area. Valera, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree absolutely. You should trust yourself, but also think critically and listen to others. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. That's a little short question session to get everybody, sort of warming up and get our audience to know a bit more about your financial strategies. But really, as I said, we're talking about BRICS on an economic perspective. So being an entrepreneur is for sure not an easy task. It requires a lot of, expertise, innovative ideas, and money, and also sometimes supporting policies. And we know BRICS with a goal of promoting really trade and multilateralism and also investment between emerging economies. But it has actually put forth several mechanisms just to support business people and also professionals. For example, the New Development Bank, I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's actually set up by BRICS in the year 2015. It has a goal of really mobilize resources for infrastructure and also sustainable development for projects within BRICS mechanism and also other emerging markets. And the NDB, excuse me, the New Development Bank has actually approved loans worth of 35 billion US dollars for around 100 projects. And some of the major projects include the Mumbai's urban transport projects that's in India, and also a wind power project in Brazil, and also some cold chain logistics projects here in China. All right, let's start from Hannah, since you're the entrepreneur here. Tell us the reason why you decided to start your own business, and also within the BRICS framework, did you get any help along the way?
Yeah, so before I began my business, which was in 2018, I was then under 40, I guess. And I've been working. International. I was, yes. Been working in international development for just around 14, 15 years. And one thing I realized was that there were all these different international development consultancies, but many of them did not really understand BRICS, did not necessarily even specialize in that sort of area. And there I was, I'd actually been working for the UN in China, and I wanted to bring not just innovation in terms of understanding the different models of development that now we do work with in our consultancy and share through the consultancy expertise, but also innovate in how a consultancy can work and be more sort of agile, focused on African markets in particular. I'm Kenyan, so that was really important to me. And yeah, that was it. I saw a real gap in the market, and that's why I went at it. And every business has its up and downs, but being based in China was a very good decision. It has been very good for us, that and we expect significant growth in what we do going forward. So yeah, especially because the Africa-China partnership is increasing, and also and the interest of BRICS more broadly in African countries is also increasing. So that's we're looking forward, that's exactly the 10, 15-year potential that I'm talking about. Even in my business, that's what I've been thinking through.
How many offices do you have right now?
We have an office in Beijing, in Nairobi, and in London. So we have 3 offices. But we have consultants who are based all over the world, and especially in African countries, so that we have that kind of localized expertise that we can bring to every single project that we work on.
So you have consultants from China, from Africa, and also from
yeah. Our team in China is the most diverse team, and it's the largest team in China, and they're also diverse. So it's a mix of Chinese, Africans, also and others from around the world. But then in Africa, we have about maybe 35% of our team are based in African countries. Yeah.
Cool. So when you're having a diverse team, how do they work along well?
They do, but one of the things we're really intentional about is also understanding different cultures. And to be honest, we believe that diversity is a strength. It's one of the key values of our company, to have serious, significant diversity. So, yes, there are differences in terms of different cultures and ways of working, but we want to use that as a means to deliver.
Right. And also through a diverse team, you can offer a diverse range of ideas to your customers, right? Now let's go to Renato. I know that you said you were a lawyer. Are you still doing lawyer work as well?
I work sometimes as a consultant or researcher, so people tend to ask me some advice or
and also you're a scholar at a think tank as well. What do you think of really just cooperation through the BRICS framework, especially in terms of trade and investment?
I think especially for middlemen or the small investors, it's becoming a really important tool, because it's helping people to create perspectives and gain trust, because we tend to depend a lot of the center of the gray market, and this is giving potential for side markets or periphery, let's say. I think we are facing a slow transition. Governments are finding new source of income to a new source of investment funds. If you look the investments from BRICS, a lot go for urban, at least 15 to 14% goes for urban investments. Sustainable development goes for around the same, renewable energies. You have 4 to 5% to other sorts of investments, which give you these nations that tend to have a hard time getting resource for investment straight away, a more option, and that's the point. And now it's coming new structures for this this market. We have hard time, for example, neighbor countries or small nations, or even in small investors, they have to send a small amount of money. Talk about 20,000 and talk about 50,000. It's always complicated to make the conversion to dollar or some other usually dollar, and then send it to a country that has nothing to do. So it's always so slow down the business. It usually make like things more complicated. So people are looking BRICS structure as a way to break this logic and create new facilities, like new structures to like really make investments straight to the place where you want and like put things to flow. That's what I've been feeling so far.
So what are I guess some of the benefits of transnational financial cooperation in your view?
I think it's exactly like this safe net, right? Like it speeds up the business and make you like less vulnerable to oscillation of the currency exchange, which is always like something that bothers is like medium and small business. Like you have to make a approach or like a quick investment, but you have to go through like all this bureaucracy of a third country not involved in the process. So this like it's a promise yet, right? Like BRICS is not solving this yet. I think like what BRICS is really solving is this like new source of investment. Especially like recently Brazil had like a big flood in the south, which destroyed a lot of agriculture productions, more than 300 cities. So for quick investment to recover those cities, we got $1 billion from the NDB. So this was like an investment that really came like handily, you know.
Okay. I think that's a lot of investment ideas and strategies. Now let's talk about it from a very less, I guess, more culture perspective. I know that you guys have all been living in China, and specifically Violetta, you're a student here at the Chinese University. How do you like the life here? And I guess my first question to you is, what made you want to choose China as a place to study?
Thank you. When I graduated university in Russia, I got nominated to study in China and receive government scholarship. And at the time, I was already working as a TV director, and I saw what weaknesses and opportunities of growth we have, especially concerning technical part of broadcasting. And as I knew that China has really advanced technologies, I wanted to come here and study more about it. So it was my professional interest at the first part, but also from my personal interest, I wanted to get the experience of living in country with such high tempo of economical development, and also participate in cultural exchange, which I believe is a key point of growth, not only like for countries, but also for people. As Hannah said, it's about diversity and it's the key to growth. So yeah, that was my intentions to grow as a professional and also as a person.
So how long have you been here?
I've been here for 1 year.
1 year. How do you like the life here so far? Is it a lot different than your home country, Russia?
That it's really a lot different, but what I can say is that I think people is what matters, and people in Russia and China, they're a bit similar because we're both very welcoming and very helpful. And talking to people here, I feel like I'm at home, even though the atmosphere, the culture is very different. But I find it very interesting and a great experience because through getting to know more Chinese culture, I think I became more calm, more thoughtful person, and from Chinese people, I learned this optimistic approach to anything that you do. So yeah, it's a lot different, but different and same at the same time.
Tell me something that I guess your most impressive culture shock.
Oh, the food.
The food? Do you like it or
Yes, when you
not liking it?
I can't say that I like all Chinese food, but that's the first thing you would be told if you say to someone, "Oh, I'm going to study to China." They would say, "Do you know that all food there is so spicy?" Yes, it's so spicy, and sometimes I miss Russian food. But also, what I found is that Chinese cuisine is very diverse, not as diverse as Russian. So you can develop, you can go to different regions in China and try their own food. And what I found is that some dishes, like from Inner Mongolia, they resemble Chinese food a lot. So it's also a great, let's say, adventure to search for something that reminds you about your home country in another country and really find similarities.
So you find similarities from Inner Mongolia food.
It's about the milk, fermented milk, which we love in Russia a lot. But it's also like noodles and rice from other regions. We love them a lot too. And the Beijing duck, for example, that's also a really popular dish in Russia. So it's about all Chinese regions,
Yeah,
not only
and
Mongolia.
sometimes when you miss food from home, you can always go to, you know, places like Sanitor because they have Russian food there as well, and some of them being very authentic.
Yes, I think in China you can find whatever you like. You can find pieces of your home, and it's what's interesting about China, that its culture is so different, and you and here everyone can find a place for himself to feel like at home and feel welcomed. And also Russians are one of nations in China, so yeah, I can say that even though I'm not Chinese by citizenship, but Russians, the nation, they are part of Chinese whole culture.
Wow. So all about cultural exchanges and also cooperation, and you know, now let's go to you. I know that you you were working with us, CGTN for like 5 years, you said?
Yes, 5
And
years.
before that, you worked in India. So what made you wanna, you know, come to China and work?
Yeah, I would say there's a lack of awareness about China in India. So when I decided to move to China and I told my family and friends, they had a question, like, why China? And I used to ask them a counter question, why not China? So
Wow.
I think, despite being so close, I mean, there used to be a direct flight, which was like 4 hours from Delhi to Beijing. We don't know much about each other's culture. There is a perception gap in the country, and I wanted to try new things. I was at CNN in India, as I mentioned, and wanted to explore. I think my first brush with China would I say was 2008 Beijing Olympics, and I think it was for a lot of people, it was a moment when you realize that, oh, this is a country which has put out a great show, and we want to know more. So yeah, that was the idea. And my time in China, I actually gave me a great opportunity to come closer to, of course, to Chinese culture, history, and understand it better. Uh, and I realized one thing, that we had more in common than we realized. Yes, there's a language barrier. Yes, food habits are a bit different. But in terms of people, we are very similar in terms of cultural habits, in terms of looking at your family, the family values. I think that was something that I found very interesting. I was not expecting uh, that to happen, and now I have the privilege of now living in a third country, and I've always have my comparative lens on, thinking about, oh, it used to be like this in India, and in China it was different, and now the US is like this. So I think that's a very useful experience to have, and I also have the privilege of having friends from all over. I have so many Chinese friends now. I have American friends, friends from Europe, and of course, I'm Indian, so I have friends from India. It's very interesting that how you take pieces of each culture, and it kind of impacts you in a way that you don't realize, and you become a, a, a not a different person, but a more matured and a more measured person. So I think personally, it has been, I would say, I mean, looking back, I think it was one of the best decisions I've taken professionally to come to China and experience it, and I'll try my best to actually reach out to people here in the US and try and explain that what China is and what Chinese people, how Chinese people are, and what do we get wrong about China in so many ways, and we should be more informed about it. So
Mm.
I'm always batting for the Chinese people, for Chinese culture, language, and food
Wow.
all the time.
I'm actually a big fan of Indian food as well. So speaking about the culture perspective, I guess if we want to speak back to BRICS, do you think after become BRICS partners, countries or like who are within the BRICS framework get to know each other a bit more, and like I guess people from these countries they want to try out and like reach out to each other and like um, get some exchanges from each other. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I think BRICS as a platform provides the countries an opportunity
Mm,
to speak to each other, one, of course, but also we face common challenges as developing nations. So I think it gives you an opportunity to look for solutions, but also narrow your own differences
mm,
amongst countries. So even if you're not having some issues in bilateral ties, I think BRICS is a great platform who's working towards a common goal of trying to have more South-South cooperation in terms of providing funding to developing nations, not just member states, but also partner countries.
mm,
And we face a set of common challenges like climate change, debt uh, crisis, food insecurity. So I think BRICS as a platform for developing nation has its unique identity,
right.
and it helps not just from government to government level, but also track 1.5 or track 2 diplomacy efforts, meeting having more students from BRICS countries, as China has a lot of students from BRICS countries on scholarships, and also experts from both countries visiting each other, trying to have more conversations about big issues, but also do cultural exchanges, which is very important. So I
Mm.
think yes, BRICS is moving towards that, has now expanded. So we have more perspectives, and that is always a good thing to have in an organization.
Yeah, and also, professionals like Hannah can also promote like BRICS cooperation as well, because through her advice, a lot of business can actually, whether that's African business going into China or Chinese business going to, African countries or other countries, they can get advice from, experts like Hannah. All right, I think you guys. Nayan just talk about how BRICS has just welcomed 5 more members starting from the first day of this year, 2024. And also over 30 countries have, including Thailand, Malaysia, Turkey, and Azerbaijan, they've either formally applied or expressed interest to join in BRICS as well. So following the expansion, the combined GDP of BRICS countries now really accounts for 30% of the global total, and their population now representing nearly half of the world's total. So really more and more countries, especially from the global south, are expressed a willingness to cooperate more with BRICS countries. Now let's go to you, Hannah. As an entrepreneur, why do you think that BRICS are being so appealing to the global south countries? And also, do you think they can be good partners?
Yeah. So I think there's 2 key reasons why the expansion of BRICS is so interesting for many countries. The first is that, and it relates to a point that, as I was mentioning, I'm very familiar with as an entrepreneur, which is diversification. So many countries have been, relying on certain partners for their development. And those partnerships have, in some ways, some of them have really stagnated. Other ones have reduced, even in absolute terms, not just relative. Whereas, so, again, countries are thinking, let us not just put our eggs in one basket, let's move and think differently. And also, we have been growing our economic partnerships. We've seen countries like China and India really develop a lot, or Brazil really develop a lot. And we're building something really quite interesting and unique. So let's take advantage of that. Let's understand each other more. So I think that diversification is one key reason why we have a lot more countries, including African countries, interested in partnership with BRICS. I think the other second reason is really about the willingness and the different understanding of development and different understanding of how countries progress, which BRICS offers. And I say that because, also as a development professional, and again, coming back to that sort of history, one of the reasons why I even came to China in the first place, I wanted to come to China in the first place as a development professional, was because I felt I couldn't understand development if I didn't understand the country that is effectively the world leader in development, over 800 million people lifting themselves out of poverty. How were those conditions created? And I think countries like Brazil, China, India, South Africa too, these countries offer something different, some thinking outside of the box in all sorts of ways. We did a report last year, which was about intellectual property and how countries deal with intellectual property. It's not just one set of rules. Different kind of rules can lead to some great results. And I think that shifting in understanding and broadening of understanding, and sometimes the kinds of rules that China or India might have used are more relevant to the kinds of challenges that the African countries are going in. So I think that increasing in understanding is also critical, and I think that's a second reason why many countries are interested in working more closely with BRICS and being part of the BRICS mechanism, because they get to even be able to have the forums to ask those questions and to discuss those issues together and work together on a way forward.
So really combine the intelligence and sometimes learn from each other as well.
Yes, yeah, and thinking outside of the box.
Innovative. It's all about innovation. All right, Renato, now we know that as well, we are now welcoming more countries and member states to join the BRICS mechanism. In what way do you think we can promote that kind of cooperation within the framework?
Well, I think the first important point here is the innovative perspective that BRICS represent. They're representing a decentralization of the world economy. So we have different new centers of economy. It's not like the BRICS is becoming the new center. So there are different centers. They're joining a forum of debate and building a tool to operate in the world financial system. The second step is like observing that this new center, this new forum of debate is thinking from the majority of the population of the world, different from the past where we have, like, for example, the G7 that has 10% of the population of the world. And we're deciding a lot how the economy should be ruled. So like there's a democratization of the world economy. And in a way that we're not centralizing China or Russia or Brazil, but we're bringing new members to participate. So when we bring about this perspective of like, so how can we build the BRICS as organization? I think it's as a forum that can create tools to, articulate these different multi-centers. It's a multipolar world, right? So I think that's how we're like coming about. And yeah, I think like I wouldn't put better than that right now. Like I think that's the center of the whole discussion. Even like this new like financial tools are a way to democratize. And I think like all our like participants here have been putting how important is the people-to-people relation in this process. And I think like one of the first launching before even the forum this week, they launched like this new BRICS card, which is like to facilitate already normal people daily like life actions be using like already a tool that like the BRICS is building. These already a sign that like normal people are taking part, not just government, those high level or big institutions, but people to, and that's how you're gonna facilitate students to move around or business to move around. And like I think that's like what we are like bringing like with this BRICS organization itself.
So starting from something very basic is understanding each other, right? Having your people to really come to each other's countries and get to know each other. Like Nayan, you were in India. A lot of people ask you why you chose China to be your work country, and you were here and you understand China, and right now you chose another country to, further your study. Do you think that studying in or like working in that country is a good idea for people to really understand that country better?
Yeah, I think you have to be here for some maybe medium to long term. If you really want to understand the culture, if you really want to understand the working environment, and also how where you live, try to reach out to the local communities.
Mm,
I think it's very important to put stay put for some time. I would
mm,
say at least 5 years. So that was one of the decisions that I made about China, that I'm here for some time. Yes, I may look forward after that in the long term, but when I moved to China, that I had a rough timeline in mind that I want to stay and learn more and grasp as much as I can, so that it becomes easier to not just interact on a daily basis, but
mm,
also understand the country as a whole, how its systems works, how culture interacts with policy. I think that
mm,
is something which sometimes is not taken. It's taken for granted when you're drafting policies. You do not take into account how a country perceives itself first, and then it makes policies. And I think BRICS, as an organization, provides that opportunity to learn more
mm,
and more interactions, as I mentioned earlier, with among students, amongst policymakers, is a good thing. And I think the BRICS have been deepening, and I think there's a lot of opportunity, even a lot of potential now to intensify it further and try and build on the concept of South-South cooperation, and try to be a partner for developing nations going forward.
mm-hmm. All right, now let's turn to our youngest guest. From your perspective, or from someone who's very young, a young professional or young scholar, what do you think young people can do to promote cooperation, promote understanding between the within the BRICS framework? Valletta?
I think that studying in BRICS countries and moving abroad is a great way to contribute to your country and develop trade unions and economical exchange in BRICS, because I think that culture is the base that can help us understand each other better, and also, let's say, find the one language to speak, because culture is universal, and also it helps us cross the borders that we have. And I think it's young people participating in educational exchange is the great base for the future of all BRICS countries, because we not only grow personally, but we develop a lot of connections here, and through communicating with different people, we can find new ways to develop our own countries, and also this mutual development, and contribute to this mutual development.
Absolutely. And right now you're a student. In the future, you're going to be culture ambassador like Nayan, who's going to work as a
Yeah,
media professional. Who knows where you're going to land? Maybe CGTN as well. We welcome you.
I hope to participate in China Russia development and exchange in the future, and be an ambassador for this. Thank
Wow,
you.
see, we got a bridge over there already. Anyways, I think this really comes to the end of our live stream. We really listened to a lot of different perspectives. We start from something very big. We talk about trade and investment within the BRICS framework, and Hannah talked about her personal experience of how to give ideas or like advice to people from Africa, China, to really doing business, doing more cooperation. Also Renato shared some of his perspective. But I think at the very end, everybody sort of come to the same page that we need to start from something little, that is building or like bridging that kind of gap and really promote understanding between BRICS countries. And that is BRICS really all about. It's about, openness, inclusiveness, and also innovative development. And that is what BRICS is all about. So hopefully we're going to see you guys contributing to the cooperation within the BRICS framework and in the future, whether that's in media industry or trade investment or, maybe lawyer. Bernardo is still doing lawyer consulting work. We're gonna see more, people join in the trend and promote cooperation between the emerging markets. So thank you so much for your insights, our guest. That's Hannah, Rinaldo, Naya, and also Violetta. Thank you so much again. And also all of you guys who have been with us this whole time. Thank you so much again, and bye.
Thank you, Joe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.